Brett, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle, along with Andrew Tanteros, Bob Beckel, Eric Bolling, and Greg Gutfeld, and this is The Five. Well, you just saw it, Herman Cain addressing the sexual abuse allegations. So does this end the controversy or just raise more questions? Andrea, flat-out accusations against him. He said he denies all of them, that they're false. He hired famed attorney Lynn Wood, which tells you something. He's taking this very seriously, and he seemed to be very strong across the board in terms of his presentation and rebutting this.
Yeah, I would call this an extremely fierce counterpunch. It's something he should have done a while ago, but nevertheless, this was the move he needed to make. I think he answered a lot of questions. He stayed with us for a very long time. I think that he hit back really hard. And, you know, he kept repeating these are baseless allegations. He also stayed true to himself. You know, this is the Herman Cain brand. I'm coming directly to the people. And I thought the ending was one of the best parts, where he says, we have big, major issues in this country. Let's get back to them. So a job well done, A+.
And in terms of the money, Eric, he's raised $2 million since last Monday. He's still holding his own in the polls, a little bit showing that perhaps a little slipping in the polls. But for the most part, he remains formidable.
Right, and I think he did himself a service by doing this. He spoke for 27 minutes. He took questions. I think that was very important for him to take questions. He could have simply, said his piece and walked off the stage. He's got a high-profile attorney. I agree with Andrea. I think it's an A+, and I think this is going to end up helping him going forward. I was concerned, look, this is a systematic taking apart by the Democrats of the conservative candidates. First it was Palin, then it was Bachmann, then it was Perry, and then it was Cain. But I think what he's done, he's turned it around a little bit. So whatever number he raised, $2 million, well, I'm not sure he did, but whatever numbers, I think it's going to increase going forward from here.
For you to suggest for a minute that the Democrats are the ones behind the taking apart of conservatives is just outrageous. The fact of the matter is, I was for her. I've defended Herman Cain for the last week. I do not now, after he makes these allegations about the Democratic organization that's behind this. Herman, let me explain something to you. It's not us. It's Republicans doing it.
Now, Bob, please. It was Palin.
Oh, bullshit.
Remember Palin? Hold on. Remember it was Palin. There's 23,000 document dumps, and they were going to find something. And then there was Bachmann, her headaches.
Who did that?
And then it was
Who did that?
Hold on. And then it was Rick Perry. He was sleepy at debates, or he was drunk at a speech. And
Who
now
did
it's
that?
Herman Cain. It's the
Are you
left.
suggesting it was the Democrats?
And I will
What's
tell
your
you
proof?
unequivocally.
You have the proof?
You have the proof.
Of course you don't.
You have the proof. That's someone else on the right.
Of course you don't.
The point is, what it is doing, it's taking the eye off the real issue. The economy stinks, jobs are horrible, and you know what? It's time to focus on Obama, not Cain.
Eric, let me say this as calmly as I can to you. But making allegations like that with no evidence and nothing to back it up.
I didn't point a finger
at
a person.
With Cain saying this, I think Cain did a good job. I do think there are some questions now with the number of people coming out. I do think it is starting to hurt him in the polls. But the idea that somehow he would infer and you would suggest that this has something to do with the Democrats is outrageous, and it's McCarthy-esque.
Let's get back to the actual charges themselves.
I agree with Bob specifically. To come out and name the Democratic Party, like naming Rick Perry without any proof, is not a wise move. However, the way that the mainstream left-leaning media has gone off with these same they're doing the same thing, baseless accusations that they have nothing to back up. Again, he's been shadow boxing from day one. Now you have a woman who, if you look at her rap sheet, 14 years later, she all of a sudden cares about the country. Double bankruptcy, legal troubles, yes, an illegitimate trial. You know what that says to me? 2 words: scam artist.
Okay, well, there's some people saying also, she's represented by Gloria Allred, who has represented a number of people in lawsuits against individuals like Charlie Sheen or, Tiger Woods accuser.
And when did she represent these people? When did she represent Meg Whitman? In a political context. You see her popping up when there's a political opportunity to bring a Republican down.
Right.
That's when she rears
She also did in the, Anthony Weiner case. She also, was in on that case as well. But nevertheless, I guess there's criticism saying that these people are coming forward now. Is there a motive behind it? Before there were anonymous sources, like Andrea said, he was kind of shadow boxing. But now Lynn Wood specifically says these people didn't file anything with any employment agency. This is hearsay. It's speculation. He wasn't given the benefit of being able to cross-examine them at the time and place when this occurred, which was years ago. Instead, he's trying to defend himself and his character now. But some of these women didn't even come forward and make a complaint, Greg.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the thing that bothered Greg Gutfeld. All right? speaking in the third person, Greg Gutfeld hates that. And by the third time that Herman Cain was talking about Herman Cain, Greg Gutfeld was sitting there going, he's beginning to annoy Greg Gutfeld. So that bothered me. Also, I'm really impressed why all successful lawyers talk really slow and are Southern. I felt like it was in a John Grisham movie. And I thought he did a great job. I thought overall the press conference was pretty good. He might have painted himself in a corner with the lie detector thing. And then also when he said there will be others. How does he know that? I think that...
But he also did say, I'm sorry, Bob, he also did say, I have never acted inappropriately ever, period, twice.
Yeah.
He repeated.
I can't even say that.
For today. I don't know.
For today.
I've acted in the last 10 minutes.
Yes, the things I've done while he was on the press conference are disgusting.
I think if you listen to what he said about the lie detector test, he said, I will on the facts, if I have some facts in front of me. And I do think he did say there are going to be others coming here. But again, if you think about who has the motive here, if there is in fact people behind this, it is clearly people who are running against him. If we, the Democrats, were going to take somebody out, we would go after Mitt Romney, believe me. We would not go after Herman Cain. We would love to run against Herman Cain.
They haven't gotten there yet. I mean, there's plenty of time to go after Mitt Romney, likely when he's
So we don't have another argument, because I love you, brother. Before you get any further down this road, can you explain to me who they are?
Well, obviously, there's a system in place, right? I mean,
there's
Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, Rick Perry, Herman Cain, whoever leads the poll is the one who gets taken down.
But who are they? You're suggesting
Bob,
that it's us?
you're asking me to name a name. I'm not going to name a name.
Let's go down this again.
Can I just... Okay, go ahead, Greg.
I think he could have... One thing that Herman Cain could have done better would have been fun was provide the press with pizza. Because if you feed the press... If you feed the press, you can confess to homicide and get away with it. If you add the mozzarella sticks, you could be a serial killer.
Godfather. Have you ever had Godfather?
It's not bad. I know you don't like. I know, but you know what? You're wearing purple suspenders, so I don't trust you.
You know what? Then he'd be accused of trying to buy.
I'm also tired. Can I just say this? I'm also tired of the phrase "where there's smoke, there's fire." That's not true. You've seen dry ice.
Okay, and are you in some weird 80s concert?
No, I'm saying that looks like smoke, but it's not. It's dry ice. Okay. So let's retire that.
Yes, let's do that immediately. Andrea, so let's talk about how there's some, back and forth here, obviously, between Bob and Eric about the source of this. Is it something that's planned? We know, everybody, from doing campaigns, you hire opposition research, you even do the research on yourself to find out what, in fact, anybody else can find on you. This clearly, and even there's articles written about it, the Politico people obviously got this information from somebody, from a campaign, something like that.
And journalists have a duty to hint at where they got the information. Again, if Politico dug it up on their own, they would have patted themselves on the back and put a huge, according to Politico exclusive, right? Otherwise, they should hint at where they got it. I've talked to a number of journalists about this, but they haven't done that. But again, I don't think those details are going to be unknown to us for that long. I think if these women are being enticed to come out, it's likely going to come out.
I think there's enough evidence here to say that this is not dry ice. I mean, in a period of 2 weeks, you have 4 women coming forward, right? That smacks of somebody encouraging them to do it after all these years. It is, having run a presidential campaign and been the recipient of all kinds of nasty stuff on my opponents, I can tell you that it very rarely bears itself out. But in this case, just so I can clarify this one more time, there is no doubt in my mind that Politico and others got this from other Republicans, not from Democrats.
Now, you said the exact same thing I said on the other side. How about this? How about this? Let me be all conspiratorial right now. Politico,
for a change?
Politico gets it from the Democratic Party or someone on the left. And they say, don't name your source. Make it look like it came from a campaign. And then all of a sudden we dig down into the minutia of this BS instead of concentrating on what really matters: jobs, the economy, unemployment, people aren't working, things aren't working. We waste all this time worrying about whether or not Herman Cain went like this to a girl 12 years ago or not, instead
or whether he paid
focusing on Obama's failure.
Or whether he stuck someone for the bill for wine.
By the way, that's the thing that people don't talk about. That was offensive for somebody who does come up to that height. For him to do that.
Well, Greg, Eric still believes in the grassy knoll theory of the JFK assassination. And I know you're still going to work on that one. It's only been 40 years now, but you'll be there at some point.
No, but I do know that there are conspiracies and there are also...
Just for the purpose of the family, can you clarify
Go back
this?
down the bunny hole.
No, please.
Okay, let's move it forward.
No,
let's move this forward. Does this help or hurt Herman Cain going forward, Bob?
Of course it hurts him.
You don't think he can overcome this?
Oh, do I think he can overcome it? Perhaps he can, but I think that there is a effort here. Then when he says there's other people coming, he knows they're coming.
Kimberly,
I think
he's raised the money, you know, which is good. He continues
raised $2 million.
But
That's
there's
nothing.
people that nevertheless, Bob, it is significant when you compare it to what he was raising before. Big criticism was that he wasn't able to get the donors, wasn't able to raise the money, that he didn't have organization on the ground. You need to have cash to hire people. They have made new hires. You know, he's trying to address these allegations and focus on his campaign. He's not backing down from it. He's saying that these are false. And to, you know, to his benefit in terms of being able to bring this into a court of law, he wasn't afforded that opportunity.
I don't know if you were going this way, but I think that this is actually going to end up helping him. And I've been no fan of Herman Cain over the last 10 days because, for me, I don't want my presidential candidate to have sexual harassment or assault passed.
Right.
But now it feels like these people are coming out of the woodwork with very, very small accusations.
Well,
the wine.
Paying for the wine.
Maybe he has to, whatever, does it really matter? It's not really what happened. It's more along the lines of how did he react to it. He's reacted very well.
Well, I have something to add to this. I was also sexually harassed by Herman Cain, but not this Herman Cain. It was a pharmacist from Cleveland. He was an animal. I just thought I'd get that out there.
Thank you very much for that, Greg.
Counseling is covered by insurance.
Greg,
It hasn't helped me, though.
I'm not.
As usual, Greg, you've elevated this conversation to a...
Somebody has to.
If there is, I think Eric just put his finger on it. The question really for Republicans is, do they want to have somebody represent them in a general election that fairly or unfairly these allegations are hanging over and will not go away? And if you get to the point where I do believe Republicans are, that they will do whatever it takes to beat Barack Obama, they really want him, do they want to take what is essentially an allegationally flawed campaign against him?
Okay, well, Democrats were willing to take Bill Clinton. Right. And they hail him as one of the greatest presidents.
Yeah, but that was a re-election campaign.
And there were facts there. And there was...
Are you talking about the Paula Jones thing?
Yeah, well, there's a number of them, and he's still hailed as the greatest president. I think it depends on what... I think it depends on what happens after this, because I think he's handled it very, very well. I agree with Eric.
What about the taint, Andrea? The fact that there is still sort of a cloud over him, and that could be problematic because they do want to win. And so far, Romney, squeaky clean, you know.
There's no question.
Oh, he'll have his day.
By the way, he
Democrats make sure he
gave Romney a little bit of a pass there when he said, "Oh, sure, Romney was just suggesting." Who are we kidding? Romney was trying to draw attention to it.
It depends on what happens after this on the way to Iowa. But again,
let's see.
GOP primary.
They said the cheese.
And we're doing it. More on Herman Cain's press conference coming up next when we come right back. Stay with the 5.